So I guess I don't want to make this a fucking long thing, dude, but here's my biggest issue. This is where I'm running into a wall, and I don't understand, because I know I've worked with people. I go to the supermarket and I see there's a lot of zombies. Like, for instance, like if you're at a supermarket and, you know, a 60 or 70-year-old retiree in a supermarket, that's their fucking, dude, that's their Super Bowl Sunday when they go food shopping. So for me to get impatient with them, because they do this thing where, and they do it in traffic too, and I'll get to that real quickly, a Florida thing I have an issue with. But if you go to a supermarket, and I've lived in the Northeast, New Hampshire and Massachusetts and shit. So I've seen this everywhere I've been. This is a hands down. The traffic thing isn't, but the supermarket thing is. It's weird. You'll have 60 or 70-year-old people, and they'll put their carriages, because there's literally, the way supermarkets were designed is so two carriages can go by each other. You know what I mean? When you're shopping. Well, they'll post up and they'll do a roadblock, the aisle block in the middle of the supermarket. Right? They're not talking to you. Like, there's this like old thing they always say, oh, there's always these people talking that they block the aisle. They don't have to, this is the worst part. They're not even necessarily talking to each other. They'll park their carriages right next to each other and just block the entire aisle for like 5 minutes. So you go all the way around and come back, and and the meat, when you get to the hamburger aisle, yo, those old 60, 70-year-old people, they'll sit there and they'll research that hamburger, how much it weighs, they'll smell it, they'll squeeze it, they do all this crazy stuff, and they'll make you wait to get your hamburger. But, all right, so that's that. And then with the thing I was referencing earlier with the traffic in Florida, oh my Lord, holy shit. In New England, everybody's very impatient. I am, by nature, a New Englander, very impatient. In Florida, there's a lot of, they'll have 4 lanes. There'll be 2 lanes going this way, 2 lanes coming this way, and there'll be a little median in the middle with a bunch of palm trees, right? Here's the effed up part. So, say for instance, you live where most people do, off of one of these 2-lane roads, so it's 4 lanes, 2 lanes on the right, 2 lanes on the left. So, if you have to pull into the right, there'll be 1 car behind you. 1 effing car behind you, no other traffic, and there's 2 lanes. So let's logically process this. If there's 2 lanes and you're behind a car and you see that they put their blinker on, they're going to take a right, wouldn't you, the most logical thing would be to put your left blinker on and get to the left lane and go around them? In Florida, for some reason, they forget that there's a left lane, and they ride right up your butt and stay right up behind you. And I haven't had it happen yet, but I would love somebody to beep at me when I'm doing this. But my point is, they act so impatient when they're up in your butt, but there's literally another lane to the left. I don't know why in Florida, for some reason, they can't functionally process this idea that if you are behind somebody and you see them taking a right and you're going to be impatient and right up their ass, probably get in the left lane and go around them and just avoid that whole thing, it doesn't make sense. But let's get to the main point. For some odd reason, in America, there are people, I've seen it in, I saw another Kamala Harris and Tim Walz sign. So I have to address this. How could anybody watch her speak and what she says and what she's produced as a vice president? And let's be honest, she's not the president, so you can't blame everything on her. She can't tell, I mean, maybe she can, I don't know, but she isn't the president, so you can't, you have to get benefit of the doubt. But beyond that, let's just be realistic. Kamala Harris has spoken a few times, and what you've heard from her, and that Oprah interview that they had the other day, it was supposedly a town hall, it was basically a puff piece interview. She looked like a 12-year-old kid trying to pretend she's a professional. It's so embarrassing. And for anyone in this country to listen to what her policies are and what she's lights out. Thank you. For anybody in this country who's listened to her policies, which are meager to say the least, that they don't exist. But for anybody to listen to her talk, just listen to her talk. For her to be somebody you support, I completely have lost any respect for certain people. And like I said, there's people on my road that I live in Southwest Florida, which is a Trump stronghold. There are Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. So I have to admit they do exist, and they have the balls to put the flag up in their yard here. So I'm questioning reality at this point. I'm wondering how she can stumble through an interview while the media is trying to hold her up like crutches, and they still don't, they're not disturbed by who they're giving the car keys to. Again, just because Trump's so orange, he's so mean on Twitter. Dude, she doesn't have anything. Everything she says, everything she does is completely insane in terms of like how she's presenting herself. And yet you're still, I feel like they're just going, I can't see it, I can't see it, I don't want to know, I don't want to know. Whatever it is that defeats Trump, they're willing to do, even if it means like, I swear to God, they would kill their own kids. 28% of the country, of Democrats, I should say, 28, maybe it's the country or just Democrats, 28%, just keep that number in mind, said they would not be upset if Trump was assassinated. That's where we're at. So that should just tell you everything. That's how are we going to even approach a logical, any sort of conversation with people who think that way? I have yet to meet a Trump supporter who wanted Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or any Democrat for that matter to die or to be assassinated. The fact that they would, 28% of them want it, they're sick. They're sick.